Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I am Hamza Idris. The military juntas in Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger had announced their immediate withdrawal from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The announcement was contained in a statement issued by the leaders of the three Sahel nations at the weekend, describing the resolution as a sovereign decision which takes effect without delay. The three Sahelian states are currently struggling with jihadist violence and poverty, just as they also grapple with intense ties with ECOWAS since coup took place in Niger last July, Burkina Faso in 2022, and Mali in 2020. Recall that all the three countries were suspended from ECOWAS, with Niger and Mali facing severe sanctions. Already, the Nigerian government on Monday expressed sadness over the announcement by the three ECOWAS member states to withdraw from the bloc. In a statement signed by the spokesperson of the Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Francisca Omayuli, Nigeria called that ECOWAS has worked to promote peace, prosperity and democracy in the region. The statement added that Nigeria stands with ECOWAS to emphasize due process and shared commitment to protect and strengthen the rights and welfare of all citizen members, just as the ECOWAS body denied receiving a formal communication on the pull-out from the ECOWAS community. And we have in the studio a seasoned diplomat, Ambassador Alhassan Dahiru. He has been Nigeria's ambassador to several countries. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for coming to the program.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll take a short break. Viewers, don't go away. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. Yes, Ambassador, once again, welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
How did you receive the pulling out of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso from ECOWAS?
It is an unfortunate development. Unfortunate in the sense that the world is shrinking, coming together. Then you now find some people pulling out. So it is unfortunate. The reason the three countries gave for pulling out, to me, are not tenable.
They are not tenable.
They are not tenable. They are issues that could have been diplomatically handled and solved. The only concession I want to make is that ECOWAS approached the issue in an aggressive and threatening manner. And in my own opinion, soldiers that have taken power, you do not threaten them that you would use force to dislodge them from the power they are already holding. There are nice ways of handling issues of this nature. Diplomacy, trying to explain things in a nice and cool manner that will appeal to their sense of reasoning. In my opinion, this was lacking. And instead, they became emboldened when they found that ECOWAS could not muster the forces to go and dislodge them. So, if you are making a threat, that threat must be backed by a credible force that will carry out your threat. But if you threaten an individual, or in this case, a military government, and the military government senses that this threat is not credible, then they will just ignore you. And this is exactly what they did. But at the same time, I need to explain a perspective that some people may not know.
Okay, go ahead, yes.
A senior colleague of mine in the diplomatic service once said, the tragedy of the black man is that he doesn't know when he is being used. But I want to make a slight modification. The tragedy of African leaders is that they don't know when they are being used. These three African leaders that felt emboldened to announce their withdrawal from ECOWAS could not have done so without external backing.
They couldn't have done so?
Without external backing, they wouldn't have been bold enough to do that.
Is it Russia, you think?
Yes, there's no doubt about it. Russia has its back facing the wall. It has been isolated by the Western world. Even the former republics that formed the Soviet Union republics are not on the same page with Russia. So Russia is looking for new friends. And how do they go about looking for new friends? Is to start shopping for troubled areas where there is dissatisfaction, where they feel that they should now move in from where the Western world has left. And this is why, if you look at these three countries, they are forging very close relationship with Russia. If you go to Central African Republic, the country's leadership has virtually surrendered the sovereignty of the country to Wagner, the Russian military. I learned that they are the ones even guarding the president. If this is true, it is a monumental disgrace. So, we Africans must understand, and very clearly too, that our destiny is in our own hands, not in the hands of foreign do-gooders.
But are we good enough? Are we prepared? For instance, Niger, you know, they have been under the firm grip of France for a very long time. If you go to Burkina Faso, Mali, you know, they all had their fair share of colonialism and post-colonialism. Is it not a fair deal to now try another colonial master, for instance?
Oh, yes. You see, we saw how they kicked out France. I personally feel that the relationship that existed between the Francophone countries and France was like between master and servant. It was not an equal relationship between sovereign countries. So these young soldiers who are idealistic, not realistic.
They are not realistic.
They are not realistic.
Maybe they have a phantom idea.
Oh yes, they have their own ideas. But then when you come to the reality, you find that it is a different ball game. You see, they kicked out the French. But in kicking out the French, they did not consider what else do we do. After we suffered, I used the word suffered deliberately.
Okay.
Why do we bring outsiders, foreigners again? These foreigners, the Russians, are after the mineral resources.
Just as France before.
Yes, they are after the mineral resources. And in my opinion, the soldiers should have been smart enough to say that we are ready for relationship with every country of the world, but on equal terms.
But do they have something to offer to get that equal
They have
terms?
something that the Western world or the rest of the world wants. They have no.
Is it the uranium?
They have
in
the
Niger?
resources. They have the resources that the outside world would like to get. Therefore, if I have the resources, I should be bold enough to dictate what should be done. Why the Western world especially has been exploitative, it is simply because we gave them the opportunity. We all have educated people. We have professionals in every field. Why don't we get these professionals to interface with those coming from outside? They will now discuss on equal footing.
But Your Excellency, these coups, after they stage them, of course, they don't have the military capability to dare France, which has bases in all these countries. So they need someone like Russia to actually give them the backing to checkmate any potential threat from France.
They didn't have the capacity to confront France. But at the same time, they were courageous enough to ask France to leave. And France left.
Because maybe Russia said that, okay, you'll be fine.
Now, if they were bold enough to get the French off their back, if they want to bring in the Russians, they should have learned a lesson from their relationship with France. Then they forge a different relationship, not on the basis of exploitation of the resources. Russia is just interested in the exploitation of the resources of these countries.
For exchange with military support.
Oh yes, I have been told that Wagner were exploiting gold from Sudan and taking out to sell and make money. So, we in Africa, with our resources, people are coming to exploit us, and we have remained poor. The resources that are exploited and taken out of our various countries, they are manufactured into finished products, and they are sold to us at dictated prices. So I have been saying it, and I will keep on saying it. We live in a world that is not fair, and it is not just. It is a world of exploitation. If you understand your game very well, you exploit your neighbor. The neighbor will be wallowing in poverty. You are in affluence, but you don't care. And that is why you see the level of poverty in Africa, because we allowed ourselves to be used.
Okay, Your Excellency, when I look at the map,
yes,
West Africa
yes,
map, and then with the pulling out of Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso,
yes,
what I saw behind them is a landlocked area.
All of them,
in front of them,
all of them
landlocked now. Can we say they are the biggest loser in this equation?
Now, I wouldn't want to say they are the biggest losers. I will say that both sides are losers. if you are a father, you don't want your children to scatter about. You want to bring everybody together. But these three countries, they are landlocked. And this is a big minus for them.
Especially economically.
Economically and commercially. You take our immediate neighbor, Niger. I've been to Niger about 2-3 times. The relationship is so close. The invisible trade between the two countries is huge. Now, with Niger breaking away, it means the protocol of ECOWAS that specifies free movement of persons, goods, and services is no longer available to Niger Republic. They cannot just move into Nigeria like they used to.
Without visa.
They must have visa. And this means that they have to even print new passports, because the passports in use is West African passports. Although they are in West Africa, but they are no more in ECOWAS.
So that passport is invalid?
No, the passport will no longer be valid because they are not in ECOWAS anymore. So they have to print their own passports. And wherever their people are going, they have to look for visas. So you can imagine the local man that is living between the borders of Libya and inside Niger Republic. People who would cross in the morning and return in the evening.
Or maybe like Kongolam in Katsina and Memujia across Niger.
Ilela in Sokoto. Now, this is no longer available. Yes, in the north, the traders at the borders will lose because they could no longer move into Niger to buy livestock and other things, like somebody was talking about dates and tiger nuts. But if you look at the pattern of trade, the people of Niger are the ones benefiting because they buy more from Nigeria than Nigeria buys from Niger. So definitely Niger will be the loser. You go to Mali, you go to Burkina Faso, it is the same thing. They are landlocked. So if they had given deep thought to all these things, perhaps they wouldn't have been rash with the decision they took. You see, in politics, as in government, when you are taking a decision that is going to affect the lives of millions of people, you have to consider everything
before you take decisions.
You don't take monumental decisions on the basis of impulse.
But don't you think, Your Excellency, maybe they repeated the threat by the ECOWAS at the first instance? Maybe they're just trying to test the waters. They don't mean what they did.
You see, when they formed their Sahel Alliance,
yes,
and issued a statement that should ECOWAS send their troops to Niger, their joint forces will fight the troops of ECOWAS. So they are feeling that ECOWAS itself, although it has mooted the idea of sending troops,
yes,
meetings
meetings
by the service chiefs had taken place.
Yes.
But at a later stage, things started to go down. As things started to go down, then they were emboldened to say, oh, these people are just making what we say in Nigeria, gra-gra.
Toothless bulldogs.
Yes, that is the thing. And they must be working with intelligent people, advising them. If you look at it, they know that Nigeria has serious security challenges and it has economic challenges. The other countries in ECOWAS, they have the same challenges. If they don't suffer from banditry and other terrible things,
exactly,
the economy is not buoyant enough. So Nigeria is the biggest brother in ECOWAS. Nigeria pays between 66 and 70% of the budget of ECOWAS. So if Nigeria is virtually the one shouldering the responsibilities of ECOWAS, and they have seen that Nigeria has its own serious challenges, they might have said that, look, these people are just saying, just threatening us, they will not come. And then they must have also observed that even within Nigeria itself, there are people from the north who feel that after centuries of relationship with Niger Republic, we should not destroy that relationship just because of a coup d'etat. This coup d'etat issue, let me go back to it.
Yes.
At the time ECOWAS was established in 1975, who were the two major promoters of ECOWAS at that time? They were General Yakubu Gowon and General Nyasimbe Ayedema of Togo. And both of them were military rulers. So at the time ECOWAS came into being, the issue of democracy was not part of it at all. But when the world started changing and democracy became a potent word for everybody, then ECOWAS now brought it into the treaty. As much as possible, every country should be governed in accordance to the dictates of democracy. That is a government chosen by the people.
So, and democracy as a term is relative.
Yeah.
Every country maybe has its own way of defining it.
Oh, yes. But unfortunately, the issue of enforcement comes in. If you say you don't want military rule, and I personally don't want military rule, because we have seen the results all over the continent of Africa. What do you do to keep the military at the barracks? This is very important. So as far as I'm concerned, the antidote to coup d'etat is good governance. But unfortunately, you don't get the type of good governance you expect. You find that the civilian rulers sometimes behave worse than the soldiers they replaced. And this makes the civilians very uncomfortable. The only excuse I will give in respect of Niger, when Mohamed Bazoum was toppled, before then there was no outcry no demonstration, nothing against the government of Mohamed Bazoum. So if the people did not complain about the government of Mohamed Bazoum, why did you topple him? Now, the excuse they gave, whether true or not, was that the head of the presidential guard was going to be reassigned, and he didn't want to be reassigned.
So it was more of personal...
So it was more of a personal decision.
Rather than nationalistic?
No, it was not national. And then they started mobilizing the ordinary people to go and demonstrate in support. But I don't have quarrel with the demonstration in support. But I have quarrel with ordinary people carrying Russian flags demonstrating in the streets of Niamey.
Maybe Russia displayed some offers.
But then Russia should have been at the background. Russia should not have shown its hand.
Maybe it did that to slight France, to slight US, to slight
but it's not slighting France as such. You are exposing yourself to the outside world, that you are causing mischief in another country. And to me, it is not proper. Countries should behave properly. Individuals should behave properly. We're having problems all over the world because countries are not behaving properly. Individuals are not behaving properly. So, until we come back to our senses, things will continue the way they are.
Sadly. All right. Your Excellency, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll continue with the conversation. And viewers, don't go away. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. If you are just joining, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. We still have in the studio Ambassador Alhassan Dahiru, a diplomat of high repute who has served in many countries since the 1970s. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much.
You spoke about decency.
Yeah.
Is there decency in international politics? And let me boil it down to Nigeria. Can you say it shot itself, especially in this debacle relating to Niger, as leader of ECOWAS now, by just calling for war, deploying special forces which are not really there?
Now, you asked me a difficult question.
And I want you to answer it. Yes, Your Excellency.
Now, you see, government business is serious business. And serious business should be handled by serious people. If you give the job to the right people, things will move. If you look at some ministries of government in Nigeria, I'm not saying, you see the level the ministries have gone, and you see others, they are still down. So the big issue is that those ministries that are moving up are being headed by the right caliber of people. And that is why I keep on saying, if it is professional job, give it to the professionals. If it is the job that can be assigned to anybody,
politicians, for instance,
look for the best people. I have been saying it, and I will keep on saying it. No government can make progress on the basis of patronage or godfatherism. Give the job to the people who can do it. If you do it, you will find that you as the leader will even have peace of mind. But when people who are not supposed to be in government are in government, it's not only in Nigeria, everywhere you will have problems.
Are you now passing a vote of no confidence of sort to maybe the handlers of the diplomatic channels of Nigeria?
Diplomatic challenges of Nigeria?
No, channels. I mean, maybe...
No, diplomatic challenges. No. To be honest with you, the talents are there in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Then what is happening?
Then you have the retired ambassadors. These are people who gave their all in the service of Nigeria. Between 30, 35 years of service to Nigeria, uninterrupted service to Nigeria.
Career diplomats.
Yes, career diplomats. But what happens? You get frustration here and there. You have reached the stage or the grade of being appointed ambassador. You are not appointed. Somebody, a local man, who may have never even traveled out of his state, is made ambassador over and above you. And you are asked to go and deputize for him. Invariably, you are the one that will do the work. He will just be sitting down, putting his red bureau to sign as his own work.
And milking the cow, probably.
So I'm not saying career diplomats should take over everything. No. There are some few places that you can bring people from outside. I'm saying this because I served in Brazil.
Okay.
Between 1977 and 1982. And it is enshrined in the Constitution of Brazil that the president can appoint only 3 non-career ambassadors.
Only 3?
Only 3. Only 3.
In Brazil?
The rest must be career.
What is the situation in Nigeria?
The situation in Nigeria, the last administration had about 50 career, 55 non-career.
Over 100.
So the non-career were more than the career. So if you I have chosen this career and I have been faithful in carrying out all the responsibilities as a diplomat, why at the end of the day you bring somebody from outside who doesn't know anything about this job and place him over me? This is what I'm saying. We should look at issues critically.
Is that why we are not getting it right in most of our diplomatic
we are not getting it
activities?
Right. For example, I make bold to say it. All the key missions, London, Paris, New York, a permanent mission, Washington, Russia, China, you always get politicians being sent there.
Instead of diplomats, career diplomats.
Instead of diplomats who know the intricacies of the job. They can enter anywhere. But if you are not a career diplomat, there's a limit to what you can do. And let me say one thing without any fear of contradiction.
Okay.
When you go out as ambassador, you go to a reception, they will ask you, where did you serve before? Because they want to assess you.
Your capacity.
Yes. If you say, oh no, I'm not a career diplomat, I'm a politician, then they know where to place you. This is what happens in diplomacy. especially when you go to diplomatic receptions. There you get a lot of gossip. You hear different stories here and there. And if you are trained as a diplomat, you know what answer to give to every question that may be thrown at you. I give you an example. One of my senior colleagues was asked at a diplomatic reception by another ambassador. Said, "From where are you?" He said, "I'm from Nigeria." He said, "Oh, you are from Nigeria. Why are you people so disorganized?"
Oh my God, he told him.
Oh yes. So the Nigerian ambassador was very smart. So he just told him, that is the mistake you people are making.
Okay. He fired back indirectly.
He said, if you don't know our disorganization, that is the reason for, in fact, our disorganization is our strength. Our disorganization is our strength. So the man could not say anything anymore.
Yeah, he disarmed him.
Yes. So you get certain questions that you have to maneuver your way. Otherwise, you may say things that will just give you out or give your country out.
As we speak, Your Excellency,
yes,
President Tinubu has recalled career, non-career ambassadors. They are all back home or they are on their way. For months now, we don't have ambassadors. You know, is it normal to take this long without having your ambassadors?
No, you see, we, the career, before you are considered for appointment, you must have served for not less than 25 years.
Before you become an ambassador?
Before you become ambassador. It can't be less than, unless something abnormal. I know an abnormal thing happens, and I don't want to go into it. But it is 25 years and above. After you have garnered all the experiences of serving in so many countries and handling sensitive issues, and then somebody is brought over and above you, you will not be happy. But because you are serving the country, not serving an individual, so you give your best, even though you are not happy. But the distinction between career and not career is very clear. We have our Association of Retired Career Ambassadors, of which I am a member. The non-career ambassadors had made attempt to join us, and we rejected it.
Why? Because maybe they
are not part of us. They are not part of us. The way we look at it, if you will not bring an outsider and make him a general, why do you bring an outsider and say he's ambassador over and above the person that has done this job for 30 years or even more? You see, I don't want to go into certain issues, but there's this discontent that career diplomats are not appreciated much. And this is because they are not rewarded the way they should be rewarded. But then we keep on hoping and praying that things will change. But we understand it takes time
for things to change.
It does not mean that effort should not be made to change the situation. I hope that one day we'll just wake up and find that, okay, the federal government of Nigeria has decided that 75% or 80% of ambassadors must be career. then you will see the change
in the approach.
Okay,
now this leads me to the issue of managing the Sahelian issue. Now, yes,
one?
I mean, managing the Sahelian issue. I mean, the coup in Niger.
Okay.
But yes, is there a nexus between poor diplomacy by Nigeria, which leaks ECOWAS, and what we are witnessing?
In fact, when I spoke to one of the radio stations,
yes,
I said we need to get seasoned, retired career ambassadors.
Okay.
From Nigeria, from Ghana, from Senegal, and get them to go and meet their colleagues in those 3 countries and explain in detail the implication of what they are doing, which at the end of the day will not help them. The diplomats from those countries may decide to go and meet their leaders. We have had this discussion with our colleagues from Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal. This is the substance of our discussion. Please look at this issue critically and let us know what we will tell them. But at the same time, the ECOWAS Secretariat in Addis Ababa that has many career diplomats, they can include them in the delegation that AU should send, because I don't think AU should leave ECOWAS with this matter.
Okay.
AU should come in. AU should come in simply because we have, the continent of Africa has various regional groupings. We have ECOWAS in West Africa. We have SADC in Southern Africa. We have East African Union in East Africa. We have the one in Central Africa. Then we have the one for the Arab Maghreb.
Okay.
The one in the Arab Maghreb is the one that has not been functioning.
Okay.
It has not been functioning simply because of the clash of personality or ego or whatever between Morocco and Algeria. So, if you have regional bodies and you have the headquarters at AU for the whole continent,
yes,
what is happening in one sub-region should be of interest to the headquarters of AU. And that is why AU came to issue a statement that the matter should be diplomatically handled and a solution found.
Okay, now it's like Nigeria has started, something, going by the statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that they are open to negotiation. Is this a sign of weakness on the side of Nigeria?
Yes, in fact, this is what I expect Nigeria to do.
At the beginning, or
no, even now, at the beginning and now, what should be done is for Nigeria to now take it upon itself. Nigeria is ECOWAS. If ECOWAS collapses, the blame will be more on Nigeria for not bringing everybody on board or not doing much to solve the problems of the sub-region. So I agree in total that we should engage with Niger Republic.
But it appears maybe from the position of weakness now, since we cannot exude our superpower status.
It may appear from position of weakness, but Nigeria has passed the stage that it can take on any country on the basis of weakness. I spoke to NTA some time ago, and I said, I want to see the activist foreign policy of Nigeria of the 70s and the 80s. At that time, other African countries would be waiting to hear what Nigeria would say. What was the position of Nigeria? That was the time we spoke so clearly, so loudly and eloquently that nobody was left in doubt as to the position of Nigeria. And this is what I want to see.
Okay, will you advocate reduction of sanctions as a way to reduce the acrimony?
You see, the sanction issue that we are talking about, it was not the imposition of Nigeria.
But we lead the ECOWAS.
It was the imposition of ECOWAS. Now, if you want to relax some of these sanctions, you have to follow it in a systematic manner, so that it doesn't appear as if you are backstabbing the other members of the ECOWAS. It's a collective decision. It's not a Nigerian decision. Although the president of ECOWAS is the Nigerian president, but he did not take a unilateral decision. So the engagement by Nigeria, maybe we don't even need to talk to publicize it. Through the back door, we talk to them. They will understand. If you marshal all your facts and tell them that, look, this thing is not in your national interest, they will understand. And I'm of the opinion that they took the decision on the basis of impulse. They were not rational in that decision. And I believe when they return to democracy, yes, those countries will come back. After all, Morocco withdrew from the Organization of African Unity, OAU. But later on, it applied to come back.
All right. That's a very good one. Big sound bite there that they may likely come back. I will hope so.
Yeah.
I wish we have more time, Ambassador, to continue with the conversation, but time not on our side. We thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
And we hope to have you again.
Thank you very much.
And viewers, we've been interfacing with Ambassador Alhassan Dahiru, who has been to so many countries in the course of his diplomatic endeavor from Nigeria. And that's a wrap on today's package. We hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics airing live every weekday and our special package on Friday, during which we open our telephone line for you to comment on national issues. For now, that's a wrap on the program. Thank you for being with us. Bye-bye. I'm Hamza Idris.